Recording? That's my cue. Okay. All right. Welcome everybody. This is our monthly meeting. It is March 8th and it's 6:30 p.m. Before we get started with our town court presentation, I'd like to welcome Randy Brown to the table. And you've already been really busy since the appointment, so awesome.
Happy to be here.
All right, so the first item on the agenda is the town court presentation. The justices are here, Justice Gordon and Justice Foster, and they requested of the committee to do a presentation on the finances and how that all works for town court.
Thank you. So I'm just going to do a quick little brief introduction. One of the things that we constantly preach.
Is the microphone on? Excuse me.
No,
He's not.
Okay,
He's just not working.
okay.
I'm not close enough to it. One of the things that we constantly preach is separation of powers, separation of powers. We're going to get into the finance and the numbers part of it, but I just wanted to give you kind of just a brief introduction about the separation of powers. And one of the things is it's the safety for the town. Quick trivia question: why do judges wear black? Any idea? Huh? I guess maybe. It actually means that they're a blank slate, that there's nobody pulling on them one way or another. And so that's the attitude that when you see the roll, that's what it means, a blank slate. So we're going to talk about how the separation of powers works, and it's really for the safety of the town. So I'm going to let Judge Foster go into that, and then I'll get into some numbers and how the comptroller stuff works.
Just let me know. Basically, the Justice Court is not a routine department or office in the town or local government. Can you guys hear me okay? No, usually pretty loud. The Justice Court is not routine. Is that better? Do you want to talk? Right there?
Yeah.
The Justice Court is not a routine department or office of the town or local government. It is part of a constitutionally different branch of government. And the justices have rights and duties that are constitutionally different from all other town or village officials. A justice court tends to operate most smoothly with a cooperative relationship between the justice court and the town or village government, respecting the principles and the separation of powers. So like this slide says, all courts, including justice courts, operate free from any undue interference from all executive and legislative branches. Judicial independence and its protections are core features of the separation of powers and apply as much to town and villages as to other levels of government. There's really four different categories that are important when it comes to justice separation of powers. One of them is the local officials must not create an appearance of attempting to influence justice courts concerning judicial rulings. And that pretty much pertains to talking to us about cases. That doesn't happen. We didn't have that problem. Towns and villages must adequately budget for their courts. There's some issues there. Town and villages must not unduly interfere in local court administration. You go to the next slide, Heidi. And then potential revenue payable to its locality is not relevant to justice court. So basically, justice courts are subject to a different set of laws and constitutional principles than other parts of local government. Just means that we're a lot, like you started to say, we're a lot different than all the other executive and legislative branches. I can't speak.
So in other words, it's like if a town official came to us, and this hasn't happened, but if a town official came to us and say, hey, court revenue's down, you need to up your fines. Can't do that. That would be bad. In instances like that. Okay. All right. So if you look at the distribution codes that I provided in your packets, and these are too hard to put on the PowerPoint. It's not up on the PowerPoint. I apologize for that.
We tried to import them, but it wouldn't import properly. Yeah.
So if you look at page 65, the distribution codes. Bring this in. ACs is vehicle and traffic law. Now, 95% of all the tickets that we see that come through the court are vehicle and traffic law, right? And then you have your penal law cases, which aren't tickets per se. But vehicle traffic is the big part of where revenue for the court comes from. But when you break it down, you read what AA says. It says Canton Village speeding ordinances. Oh, I'm sorry, page 65.
I know what it says, distribution codes.
You have the distribution, page 65? Okay. If you look at AC, it says vehicle traffic law, but it excludes codes AA, AB, and AD. So if you go to 64, page 64, there is AA, AB, and AD. So AA is Town and Village ordinance speeding. So like if you have your own, the village sets up their own speeding ordinance, maybe in a park area, that would cover that. We don't see that. AB is vehicle and traffic sections 1100 through 1299, but excludes DWI, speeding, and reckless driving. And I would say out of all the vehicle and traffic tickets that we see, 90% of them are speeding. Okay, so if you look at that on that distribution code, go back to 65 AC. So a speeding ticket comes in, and they get fined, say $100. The fines can range up to $600, depending on how fast they're going, how many miles over the speed limit that they're accused of doing. So no matter what we fine them, we fine them $100, the town, look right across there, fines paid to the state, fees paid to the town / village is $15. So whether we fine them $100 or we fine them $600, the town gets $15. Flat rate. So we'll get into our issues with that. The sections that do apply, that the town gets all of, and I'm just going to highlight some of these. This is sections 1100 through 1299. Pedestrians in the crosswalk, which we have in the village, unsafe passing, fail to yield the right of way, improper turns, fail to signal, handicap parking, unsafe backing, following too close to a fire truck, driving on the sidewalk. The two that I see that we see, or we're starting to see more often, is mobile phone use and seatbelts. We do see quite a few of those, and all of those fines go to the town. Child car seats, bicycles, motorcycles, and I love this one, riding horses. You can actually get a ticket for improperly riding a horse in the state of New York. And electronic mobility devices, scooters. If any of those tickets come to the court, whatever the fine is, 100% of that fine comes to the town. But I would say out of all the vehicle and traffic tickets that we see, that's probably less than 5%, which is a very small percentage. They're just not very common. And I explained to you about how the range goes for the speeding tickets. Then there is a surcharge, right? We live in the great city of New York. And in New York, there's always a tax. And in this case, the surcharge is a tax. The surcharge goes to pay the salaries of the circuit court judges throughout all of New York State. That's where that surcharge goes. Even DWIs can carry a fair amount of a fine, but it's excluded. But I will mention here that the fines for DWI that are paid to the state come back locally to law enforcement. It helps pay for extra patrols, DWI equipment, paying the individuals who provide mandatory classes to those who've been convicted. They actually all have to take DWI classes called victim impact. So those fines do ultimately come back, but not how we would be able to use them for town finances. The town does get all penal code fines. So, for example, petty larceny, stealing, assault, harassment, disorderly conduct, certain low-level drug offenses, trespass, criminal mischief. All the fines will come to the town from those charges. But oftentimes, the district attorney's office will plea bargain those down. So you might have an assault, but it gets pled down to a harassment. And therefore, the fine, which could be up to $1,000 over here, is now a high of $150. And so, and we really have a whole lot of say in that, and we do have some depending on the situation, but, and even in vehicle traffic law, they get pled down. The district attorney's office has a plea reduction for speeding, where it would get pled down to a parking fee. And that lessens the points on the person's license, and it also lessens the amount of fines can be collected. So oftentimes, many of the people, especially the ones that come before us with penal law charges, can't pay the fines. So ultimately, what we end up doing is taking a judgment against them and sending the judgment up to the county clerk's office. And then it's up to the town to actually go after them for those funds. We did a check on how much is out there, and there's just over $200,000 in judgments that are owed to the town. And Judge Foster, we can't help the town do that. I can only tell you, they're here, and you can go get them. But we have to remain neutral, so we're not allowed to help you do that. And you might want to look into that. The other thing, as far as fines go, that I thought was interesting, look in your packets. You'll see that I went back to 2017. The state comptroller's office keeps track of all monies paid to the state, the county, and the local government for each year. So if you look at 2017, which is the first one, it's the year before I started, there was $118,000 that came to the town from fines. And this is all for all the courts in the county of St. Louis. You go to 2018, the year that I started, you can see that the fines for the local was $165,549. 2019 was $166,792. And that was the year that COVID, right? COVID really just put a damper on everything. Also in 2019 was bail reform, July of 2019. I'm going to touch base with that. But if you look at the last page, 2020, which is the last year that they have reported, the town got $94,393. But if you compare that to all the other towns and what was taken in, there's only one other township that was higher than us. That'd be on the second page. So I think the scheme of things, we're doing okay. We've come up with some creative ideas to get people to pay their fines. It used to be that we could suspend a person's license for not paying a fine, but July 1st of 2019, when bail reform took place, that ended that. So we can no longer suspend somebody's driver's license for failing to pay. The only thing that we can do is put a judgment against them. And the judgment's good for 10 years, and you can re-up it for another 10 years, for a total of 10 years. That was probably the biggest thing, I think. I would say, I would encourage the town board that if you want a bigger piece of the pie, these numbers have not been increased in a long time. $15 for speeding ticket. For someone that speeds through this town, it's not a lot of money. That, I guess the first place you would start, at least in my mind, would be the Association of Towns. You go there, you're part of the Association of Towns for the state of New York, and that's where you start. And then maybe go to your representatives and say, hey, we need a bigger piece of the pie. This isn't fair. This isn't right. Why should we have to suffer? The state's not going to give you that difference. I mean, you're talking $100,000 in lost revenue that you would have had that not happened. So, but we wanted you to know how that works and show you some numbers. And we're always here for any questions. So I will open it up. Do you have any questions for us? Of course, Jim. Go ahead.
I'll start.
Okay.
One of the first things that Rochelle had up there is that it says the town must adequately budget the courts. it also said that the town has no say over the courts, trying to keep it separate. Courts are here, the town here. Must seems, yeah, we have to do this
Right.
adequately. What's adequate?
Well,
Can you define adequately from someone?
Again, this is coming from a manual, it's coming from the town justice manual, and they have a little bit of a definition from it. I feel as though you guys do budget for that. I mean, anything we've asked for last week, we tried to get the JCAP, we're trying to get the JCAP. There's nothing I think of that we've asked that you haven't given
and
us.
in fact,
I just was summarizing what is on there in regards to the separation of power.
we tried to set the stage for how that all works, but like, I'll give you a great example. I had a trial where we had to have an interpreter come up from Albany, so you gotta pay mileage, you know, room and board and all that stuff, plus their salary, which put us over budget. And I came to the town board and the town board was more than receptive to pay that.
This is the, if you want me to read it, it's like 4 sentences. It says courts need sufficient personnel and funding to discharge their responsibilities. The legislative bodies, the towns and villages are responsible for appropriating these resources. While towns and village boards enjoy substantial discretion in budgeting for local core operations, they must do so in a way that does not undermine judicial independence or subvert the efficientness of the local courts.
And so,
And like, again, we weren't trying to say that you guys were doing this, I was just trying to summarize what was in the manual for the separation.
understood, but I mean, there have been discussions in the past. And we at budget time will say, well, part of the problem is why we've got to, you know, we're in a situation we're in is, well, look at justice court and we'll pick on justice court because look at the revenues.
Right.
So I guess, you know, if that's the feeling that there should be a separation, why doesn't the justice court just allow towns to, or like we do a fire department? We have a fire district. Fire district submits a budget to us. Can't say a thing about it. Goes in our budget. Why don't they have, because who knows better how to adequately fund the justices? Plus, fact of the matter is, you're both elected officials. So what happens is, we do a budget, this group here does a budget, and if people complain about it, we say, well, part of the fault is justices. Well, now, all of a sudden, we're throwing blame over on the 2 other elected officials. But the same holds true. We can give you what you asked for. We get all the heat for it. You're an elected official, just like we are. You're not gonna hear about it. So why couldn't they just say, this is the way they want it to be? This is the way it's gonna be. Comes budget time, you submit a budget to us. Nope, we have no say about it. It was on there and move forward. It's on a separate line on the tax roll. This is justice court, just like fire is on a separate line. I think because, yeah, we're getting into that.
That's above
Kind of
us.
above us.
Well, I know, I understand that,
Right.
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is.
I don't disagree with you on that, makes sense, but,
Because, like I said, if you're gonna show us that, we should be separate,
yeah.
and but we need to must adequately fund you.
What some other
Set up
courts,
set up a mechanism that
Right.
would guarantee.
what some other courts have seen is elected officials coming up to the town board members and saying, hey, you need to up your fines. You know, you need to increase your revenue, which
Yeah.
you can't do,
Well,
but it happens. And, you know,
but
and then we'll, you know, we've had discussions where, you know, I'm like, we're a separate branch of government. We can't talk about certain things. And I don't want you to feel that I'm standoffish and I'm pushing you away. I'm doing it out of safety for the town because I don't want the town to get in trouble with the state. So the last thing you want is the state coming up here. You know, we don't need that. That's why I do that. But yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, but it is what it is. And you guys have been more than gracious to us with our budgets, and we appreciate that.
So it sounds to me like there's a lot of outstanding judgments out there that maybe we should be looking at finding a collection agency or something and go after those.
I've signed a pile of judgments probably just in the last month.
And that's one of the things we started doing with our report every month, that shows court finances is how much money has gone to these, judgments, so that you guys can see it.
To your knowledge, has any of those ever gone to any collections agencies?
I don't know.
To,
I doubt it.
I know the town of Governor is actually, they are actually attempting to collect the money that is owed to them. I can actually try to find out what agency they're using. But they are seeking the money.
So I believe there's one right here in Canton, but I'm not certain.
So to go from fine to a judgment, after they say, well, I can't afford this fine, it automatically goes to a judgment?
Well, we can actually send them a summons to come to court and try to put them on a payment plan, but 99% of the time they don't come to
They
court.
don't even contact.
And there's nothing that we can do. So after a certain amount of time, we send it.
Okay, so you fine them, the fine's not paid, and then it goes to judgment.
Whereas before, we could suspend their license.
It's nothing to do with ability to pay, they just don't pay.
They're not even.
But you
they're
have
not even
been-
showing up. I'm sorry.
No, so, but you've been sending a second notice and you're seeing some results.
We send them notice that the judgment has been entered against them, so they see that, they know that.
But then, did you say the other day to committee that, you sent a second one?
I believe
They
Mark was
they
sending
get a
it.
couple, yes.
What we started doing was sending them out, right around, tax return time. And we seem to get a little bit better response from people that pay their fines around that time. Try to be as creative as possible.
Well, and I did send the board the 2022 payouts and the 2023 payouts. And it's just, it's mind boggling when you look at, you know, like here, August of 22, we sent 6,500 to the state. In September, we sent 9,500, like these numbers, it's just
And until you start
every,
yelling and screaming and stomping your feet to the state, it's not gonna change. That's just how it is, right? Squeaky wheel gets
it's a
the grease.
legislative issue at the state level.
Yeah,
It's every court's doing that,
Yeah.
so.
and I also added in the paperwork too, you know, just so you can see the breakdown and that was for February of this year, just kind of the code, how many transactions. And what was taken in, what was sent to the state, you know, what was sent to the town, and the others typically the village. In fact, I know that's the village. Because that's one of the- But yeah, that's, I mean, 6,900 to the town, 7,200 to the state. And all the crimes were done
And the state does no
in
work.
your town.
The state does no work for this. We do all the work.
You do all the work. We do all the work.
Yeah, yeah.
We do all the work.
We do all the work.
So I would encourage you guys, if you want to see the revenues up, you got the judgments, and you've got, hey, we need a little bit bigger piece of the pie.
Because we can set maximum fines, it's not gonna change.
It doesn't change anything, you know, so.
you have data from 2022 on all the judgments that you could send us.
I think we should.
I'd be curious as to a full meeting.
Yeah. All right, any other questions?
Anybody else?
You said it goes, go back 10 years.
We can go
right?
back 10
So
years.
adjustment is good for 10 years, and then, just before it expires, you can actually reapply for another one. That'll be an additional
So where are those filed?
with the county clerk. We actually give them to the district attorney's office, they file them.
They're here.
with her.
So they are here, then we file. Once Mark will get them together, we sign them, and then they go to.
Then they go to the county.
But you keep track.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why I had Mark run off a spreadsheet. I'm like, I don't know how much we have out there. I was surprised. It was like over 5,000.
Okay, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for your time.
All right, thank
Very
you.
informative. All right. Before we move forward, we need to add some things to the agenda. It'll be under new business, number 4. The $2 second notice for the taxes. Heidi has requested that that be put on there. And then number 5, proposed joint board meeting between the town and village for March 23rd at 6 o'clock. So those are the 2 items added. Okay, So the next item is public comment. We're here to listen. If you have some public comment, please go to the podium, state your name and leave it to about 3 minutes, just to give everybody an opportunity. For a small crowd tonight, but I believe we do have one person that's interested. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean O'Brien. I'm a candidate for St. Lawrence County Sheriff. I just want to digress for a second and I don't know if you can take any solace to the fact that not only are the folks in law enforcement experiencing the same frustration, it's obvious that you having troubles with some of the finance in the court, and you're not alone. We're frustrated as well in law enforcement. So it's difficult, troubling times that we live in. And just want to make that like I said, I'm Sean O'Brien. I'm from just outside of Ogdensburg. I'm the current undersheriff. I own a couple of businesses in Ogdensburg with my wife Jill. I have twin boys and a 16-year-old daughter. I've been serving the community my whole entire adult life. I graduated locally at Ogdensburg Free Academy, went on to SUNY Canton, and I went to the David Sullivan Law Enforcement Academy. Obviously, many of you know the Sullivan family being here in Canton, and it's a true honor to graduate from that school. I was hired as a deputy sheriff in 2004 by Sheriff Gary Jarvis. I went on to become a road patrol deputy and a detective handling major crimes, as well as a federal task force officer in Messina, New York. I continued on my career path and became the undersheriff here in St. Lawrence County in January of 2020. And as we all know, we've all experienced a significant amount of change over the last 3 years, and law enforcement is no different. Certainly with COVID and police reform and the HALT Act and MAT and 58 repeal and bail reform, the list goes on in law enforcement. It's been a frustrating time, but I've been really proud to lead the sheriff's office. It's professional. We have 130 true professionals that work for us at that, within that office. It's a $13.7 million give or take budget with that amount of employees. I'm also honored to share with the taxpayers that I've helped facilitate $2.47 million worth of grant money in the last 3 years as your undersheriff. Making additions to the drug task force, human trafficking detective, and also facilitated school resource officer positions in 3 of our local schools here in St. Lawrence County. We do have a good working relationship with your school here in Canton. There's issues outside of the village that respectfully are in the town of Canton. And, I would look to continue those working relationships that we have with the town and with the school in Canton. I know I'm under a time constraint, but I at least wanted to say hi. I'm always open, whether it be for, questions regarding my campaign or on what I have to offer in any of my positions as a candidate for sheriff, but also as undersheriff. I'm happy to address or answer any questions at any time. My cell phone, I have a couple of them. They're listed all over. I don't care day or night. Anybody can call me, and I just want to make sure that we maintain that open door policy. But I appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to speak tonight. I know it's a public comment period, but I just want to follow the rules. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay.
All right, I thank you for the opportunity. I'm back on the campaign trail then.
Well, I was gonna say, you're more than welcome to sit through our meeting. This is exciting stuff.
I'm Judge Foster and Judge Morgan. My training officer, Mike Morgan. I'll tell you lots of stories about.
Oh, okay.
And Judge Foster, she gave me a couple tidbits of information. And an investigation.
Oh, all right. All right, Sean.
Take care.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any other public comment? Right, and I didn't see anybody on the Zoom raising their hand or anything, so, okay, we're gonna keep moving. County legislator representative update. Ben Hall did send, quite the statement, and it was forwarded to everybody. So, you know, if you have any questions, you know, you can reach out to him directly. I'm certainly not gonna read this, but, it is in the record, that he submitted that. Okay, approval of minutes of the regular meeting of, February 8th. Is there a motion?
So
Is there a second? I'll second. Any further discussion? Questions? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay or abstain? Okay, carried. All right, correspondence. We have a few here. First one was sent to the board, the workers' compensation claims liability as of December 31st of 2022. If you notice, our costs are at 4.7%. The allocation of liability is 1.1 million, and then the accumulated reserve is 395,891. So our net liability is 724,862. So y'all got that. Shows every municipality. I just didn't have time. I wanted to do some data history and what our percentage has been over the last couple of years, but I just didn't get a chance to yet. So that's one. You received in the packet the Ag and Markets report for dog control and the dog kennel. Those were both satisfactory. The last item is not an actual correspondence, but Senator Daniel Steck did reach out to me and requested to meet with me, and we met Monday for about an hour. He wanted to know, you know, more about what our needs are for the town of Canton, what we've been working on, and what they can offer. You know, he is out of Glens Falls, but the district is huge, and they'll be opening a part-time office in the courthouse. You might have seen that in the news already. So I was appreciative of him reaching out and listening. He was a town supervisor for 8 years, so he gets it. So so that was good. Town finances report. Okay. Angela?
Good evening. I've distributed to you what is the finance report for the month ended February 2023. Just pulling across the bottom of the yellow sheet, not unexpected, every fund is in a surplus position at the end of the year, at the end of the month rather. We have begun collecting revenues, of course, sales taxes come in, we collected 14% of the townwide budget of that. And we've also realized 100% of real property taxes in the A fund and the DA fund. So things are happening. Looking across the expenses, the biggest item of expense is personal services. That's running as anticipated for the year. So no surprises on that. Looking at your cash year over year. I just want to draw your attention. I give this to every meeting. The cash held for special purpose on the very bright pink sheet, last one, is 24% of your total. So while there is balances available, 24% of that is for special purpose. And year over year, there's growth in overall cash. Most of that growth is coming from the special purpose cash. Any questions on it? Okay, turning to the town clerk's report. We did do the reconciliation for the month of February. The town will be provided $808 of fees from the town clerk's office. Major activity in the last 2 months has been the collection of tax revenue. So all of the tax revenue that was collected has been due to be paid to the county treasurer. There's a remaining balance due, which there's some out in March. So everything is not for the office.
Thank you, Julie Taylor. Okay. Any other questions? All right, Very good. Thank you, Angela, for all that work. I appreciate it. Audit committee.
You ready? Okay. Fund A, 50,719.63. Fund B, 51,786.83. DA, 156,024.40. There is no highway outside, it's DB. Special fire, 63,238.83. Special lighting, 333.10. And finally, trust and agency, 22,549.17 for a grand total of 344,651.96.
We need a motion to approve the expenditures. Motion by John, I need a second. Second by Bob. Any further questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye. Aye, carried. Okay, department reports. Heidi?
So February was pretty busy, as always. I had a few different meetings, met with Mary, Mike, Jenny, Sharon, kind of just went over how we all play a role in solar. So we're all on the same page. I'm not really gonna go over it unless anybody really has any questions, but I am just gonna, I did request that $2 fee be put on the agenda, and then I'll just talk about it real quick.
Please do.
Every year, we have to come to the board to ask if the town wants to, it's our choice to do a second notice fee. We can either put $1, $2, or charge nothing. The town has always done $2, and this is for when I send out the second notice letters in April to everyone that has not made any payments on their taxes, and then that $2 will come to the town. So I'm just requesting that you guys do that tonight at the meeting, and then I'll send that over to the county. And then I brought my book down just to show everybody that we just had one of our workbooks sent out to profile to have that preserved, and this is what it. This one was much worse than this red book here. The binding had come out, the page was falling out, and this is the end result. So I just brought it so you guys can see the difference. So it's really nice. We are happy. Anybody has any questions?
And there's quite a bit of inventory that needs to be completed.
Yeah, yeah. So it turned out really nice. We just got it back yesterday, so.
And it's $2,000 just to do the one book.
Yeah, well, it was actually 2002 something, because I've been in, because of sealed records. I didn't understand that process. So there was the additional 324 that we'll do this year. So, yeah, it's a process. Let's get it out of that, so. Anything else to add?
Any questions? All right, thanks, Heidi. Is that Lee behind you, Mike? Hi, Lee.
Hi.
Would you like to go?
Sure. Little Island project, we have our second public meeting tomorrow evening, 7 right here in this room. It's an open house style, so you don't have to come to the thing. So there will be conceptual ideas displayed by our consultants and opportunities to give feedback to them and some of them directly ask questions. So please attend. There's a link to things that you can share on social media and things. It's on the website. So that will help decide what the final design is going to be and towards getting a final design done. So please. The CDBG CARES Act grant that we got, this was the one that assisted human helpers in their expansion. They are moving forward and starting to hire their new clinicians that will be taking on the new clients. So that's underway. We have reached out to people who expressed interest in being part of a review committee for the small business grant portion. So we're getting that going as well. Bentley and Brewing, the Restore New York Round 6 project. Their engineers are working on the final design. So that's the status of that project at the moment. We submitted the round 7 application from the town plaza project. We are told that we hopefully will have answers by the end of this month on the awards for that. So, fingers crossed. The New York Main Street grant, the original deadline is the end of this month. We've had some delays in finding contractors and supply chain and things like that. So we are going to be requesting an extension. So I need to write a formal request to them this month and give them some realistic deadlines for when we can complete that project. But they indicated that people are having similar problems all over the state. So it's just a tough, construction is tough right now. So if we're not supposed to. And just the last thing on my report, the governor's focus on housing. We've kind of turned our attention back to our housing plan and getting that set and trying to set some action items so that we can start implementing that and be prepared for any opportunities that might lead to forward housing.
Any questions? I just would like to add that we did have a little team meeting. I was on the phone and you and Ginny and Sharon were there. We talked about, the town, things that Lee is working on. We still have 3 our beg loans out, and then we had the two grants. We talked briefly about, the process and, the paperwork and where we're at, and just to keep on that, so.
I'll add one more thing that I didn't put in my report, but we got the formal designation of a rental opportunity area as well. So we are working to put together what that means for potential investors in the rental opportunity area. And what kind of incentives that would be for them. So finally, over a year to get it formally approved. So that's good.
That took a while. That grant's pretty much done too. We made our.
It's done. We got our final payment. And they were waiting for, I think, the nomination to be approved or be processed through all the departments before they would give us that last request. So we knew it was coming when we got the money. So
Good.
we got a nice official certificate and everything.
Oh, good. Good. Any questions of Lee? All right, thank you, Lee. Linda.
Yes, I'm here. I'll speak loudly so you can hear me, so I don't have to talk to that microphone.
Okay, speak loudly, Linda.
First of all, did any of you have any questions? Because for Randy Brown now, our new member of our town board, I use a lot of pictures. Sometimes why, but I like people to see the people I'm working with. And since we've moved to the larger building, there is not a day that doesn't go by where there are people in it. I'm reading Professor of St. Lawrence the other day, came in with his agricultural class. 20 kids, and they did perfectly in the room or in the gallery. So Amish have come in. It's just as John said, there will be a lot of traffic. And Ren's percent really helps. She's in there 3 days, and Rachel is in the line. No, it's just a gift. It's a gift to me, but the community will have to know lasting. Everybody can see photos. In fact, I thought I was going to hang all the photos. We have 86, and there are 4 boxes that people come in and go through photos that Ben's market. So community never had access to everything that I had in that room. There were not. In up 15, they were not stairs. And Frank White now 104 can come in the front door, and he sits and watches the video. And Dennis Barr bought us a huge screen. I'm using a monitor near the window. And then Ryan said, you can't keep that going at stoplight. People are going to be looking at that when they have an accident. But now it's a nice screen. It's going up over our office. And I'll be able to choose all the photos that will run, which we have. And last Sunday we had the first event with Richard Phillips. It was unreal. We didn't get a lot of people, but he played
Irish and Scottish music. And they sold a couple books, so it was a book signed with his music. It was unbelievable. So now Madrid wants to get him to come and play there. And the one thing that happened this week is I worked with the county historian, Nancy Favor. She's now been appointed for 4 years. And please get over to the lobby of the courthouse. There is a display of women's history that's just a diamond. And I'm going to advertise for Wednesdays that I would take people over so I can explain to them what was doing there. It's a beautiful display. And she and I will be working more on the monument, the marker to the corner of the courthouse and the sheriff's house and the jail. That has to be on the national register. It's going to take longer than what we get out here. And I'm going to be working on 2 more markers for Coyotes and the Aggie School. That's a part of St. Lawrence Park. So I still have work to do, but people are coming in every day and we do get distracted because I think around. And thank you for doing that. Moving me down there. Yeah, thank you.
There's still a lot of work to be done. There's a lot that we have to go through down here. And we also have to, you know, in speaking with our insurance broker, we have to get everything appraised. So that's gonna be a little bit of money. And then we have to have a specific inventory, I have to get it to insurance so it can be properly insured. So we're working on that. We're working on getting curtains and, or, you know, because that sun comes in, it's hot in there. And I didn't hear what you said, Linda.
It was 85 one day in October.
Yeah, so we're working on that, but that's costly, you know. Yeah, so by the time we have everything done, maybe we'll have a new building. I don't know. Oh, what do you say?
I said we can turn it up.
Yeah. Okay, well, you
Yeah.
can turn the heat off.
But I'm gonna open it.
Yeah,
And one.
all right.
One more thing that happened today, people that are in charge of the first 2 races. They're bringing in Wee Lassie boat. The races are gonna be May 5th and 6th, and it's a small boat that Russian used to make 12 pounds. And it's small enough to put in a window.
You gotta be careful, because we don't want anyone to,
Oh, no,
You know,
it's a beautiful boat.
yeah.
They're auctioning it off, you can buy it.
okay.
And they're gonna hold their meetings in the office. The races. Any questions? Okay, and I had all the pictures so you can see. what it's like now.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Megan's not able to be here. Let me see. Stephen, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'd like to thank St. Lawrence County Highway Department for bringing the tree truck over and an operator that helped us out tremendously to get all of our tree work done. So we're caught up with that finally. We've got a lot of brush cutting we've been doing lately, going along roads that might possibly get some reconstruction this year, trying to get that stuff done. Got some complaints on site distance issues with the coordinate those. Our new snow plow, we had that out working, we've had excellent results from that. Took a little while, the operator was cutting back on the amount of treatment he was putting down to see where the threshold was that it would still do the same job as the other trucks were doing. And without taking a truck and weighing it before we go out and weighing it when we come back, we're seeing about a quarter less material that it takes to run that route, you know. And we're getting the same results after the fact. So that's working out very well. And I'd like to thank Highway Crew for everything we do through the winter. A lot of commitment to ride your phone, as they say, all winter long.
Not too many weekends that they were.
Since November 16th, they've had 2 weekends where they haven't went. That's it. 2 since 16th of November.
Stephen, can you just remind me, we had to get the numbers to do our AUD, the cost, what went up by 50 grand? Was it the fuel between?
Fuel.
Yeah.
Yep. From 2020, what we spent in 2021 to 2022 was I'd have to look at the numbers again, but it was over $50,000 just in, from the way prices were.
Yeah. All right, any questions for Stephen? Okay, thank you, Stephen.
Yep.
All right, Cindy, would you like to go?
Okay, hi, good evening. First, I'd like to welcome Randy Brown to our town board. Mary Ann brought him up to my office, so I met him a couple of weeks ago. Okay, today I went to our assessor meeting. We had our monthly meeting, and we were given a deadline of April 9th. They have to get everything in for the tentative roll, so May 1st. So all the permits got to be collected, all the exemptions entered. I worked on that this week. Like I said, there were 14 new applicants for the age exemption and 37 recipients of Basic Star went to enhance. They were coming in and I go, where you been? The people way over 65 into their 70s or 80s, and they were still getting the Basic Star and they were eligible for the enhanced star. So those were moved. So a lot of activity there. I did submit reluctantly our tentative level of assessment. It was 74, and hopefully maybe next year things will change. The market's just been crazy over these last 3 years of watching these sales come in over and above the assessed values. A lot of the towns dropped pretty much like Canton did, so we'll see what happens there. Also, I do have good news. SDG ImageMate online, before we had to pay for it, it's now free to the public. And I would like to ask the board if I could do a power presentation next month, showing how to get into it. It's better than the assessment roll. You can see the inventory of the properties, the what pictures. You can do Google Maps. You can see the owner. It's updated once a year. You can see the assessed values. You can see the inventory of the property. So there's a lot of information out there. It's better than, like I said, the assessment roll, and it'd be a great tool for the, the public. If anyone wants to read their assessment, at least they can go online and see, what their inventory is. They can't do comparables. I mean, that would be something we would have to pay for the rights to go to SDG, and it's like $350 a year. I'm not decided whether we're gonna do it or not, and we could get into it for free. So, because I could do comparables on RPS, so I don't know the need for the town to spend $350 anyway, so that's what I was gonna ask, if we could do that next month. I thought it'd be good. I was gonna work with Heidi, and I want to thank the girls. This past month in February, it was crazy having all those people coming in for applications. They were there. If I wasn't in my office, they were there to assist the public with the applications, and my thank you for putting up with me and listening to all those people on the phone. Yeah, it was crazy because I lost a month. I wasn't able to go out, but I'm going out tomorrow to collect the rest of these permits and finish up, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks that'll be done. So it's busy this crunch time. So does anybody have any questions?
All right, thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mike.
So we just had someone ask that you could use the microphone, because they can't hear you speaking. It's a real question, so if you could go up so the people on Zoom can hear you, that'd be great. Thank you.
I have nothing to report.
Well, Mike, you're the last one,
We didn't notice that at the bottom.
so, okay.
It's out there, it's a real question.
Well, what's your
What
name?
am I, church? There you go. Thank you, Mary Ann. Through the month of February of 23, I've only issued one permit. This slow time of year. I did though, through the month of February, issue 2 certificate of occupancies for a new house on Old DeKalb Road and a new house on County Route 25, and I gave Cindy the information on those 2 homes. I did through the month, attend a webinar sponsored by NYSERDA, titled New York Midpoint Review, basically their review of New York State solar projects and incentives that are being given out and where they're at. Everything, you know, we're full of solar. One interesting webinar I attended was a zoning exclusionary down in Onondaga County. And it went through townships in Onondaga County that would allow certain housing in one part of the town, but not another part of the town, but they're right next door to another municipality that allows it. I'm supposed to have a PowerPoint presentation emailed to me that gives me more information. The rest of the month was inspection of the properties. St. Lawrence Health Systems has finished phase 1 of the project at the old Fraser building. They won't be starting phase 2 until mid-April when the occupants move out. Other than that, that's it. Questions?
I had something to this. Sure. So moving forward, I'm gonna include this report with my report, but it's actually the permits that I collect in the office, so that you can, like, he'll report, like, I did 4 permits, but then on my line item that I gave Mary Ann, where it was a, you know, it's just to break down what I've actually collected for the permits that he's actually done. So just so you guys know that this will be added to my report next month. Great.
Because I don't collect them all.
Right, so he might issue them, but then I might not even see the money for a month or so, but that's just so you can see the breakdown where it's coming from. So. we'll do that
Good
next
stuff.
month.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike, for all your.
Cindy here.
And thanks for going to the podium. Okay, Judge, you're here. Would you like to say anything else?
Thank you. Said quite a bit.
Okay, everybody got the dog patrol report? Yeah, some interesting stuff going on, you know? It's unfortunate with those dogs that were left, 2 dogs and 2 cats left on the side of the road that were deceased. So we're investigating that. All right, so I need a motion to accept department reports.
So
I think we need to amend it a little bit, because isn't there one report we haven't seen?
We
So
cannot-
can we just accept the reports we have,
Yes,
or do we have to accept them all?
well, we didn't receive a court report, right? So
And
we should
also,
only
just to
accept
remind
what's.
the other department heads, your notice went out last month about how to file them and when they're due by, and at least 3 of them were late.
Okay, so you want to amend your motion? Or do you want to retract it? You make a motion.
I will amend the motion to accept those that were presented.
For a second,
Second.
any further? All in favor, say aye. Aye, carry. Okay. All right, committee reports. Who would like to start?
I'll start, I guess. Lee kind of already got through all the economic development committee stuff. You and I met a number of items that are already on the list here, so we'll table that until the end, but so that's what's done on anyway, so.
Okay, anyone else?
I went a couple times. First time was to talk about the project at Minor Street and the RFP going out to find contractors to do the drainage work on Minor Street, and then we met again this morning, the local efficiency grant that deals with the salt sand storage facility, joint with the village. And solar, solar, not a couple of times. We met yesterday and there's a on the agenda with regard to solar. Zoning, that's on the agenda. Also, meetings that we had. regarding zoning.
Recreation. We hadn't met in about 3 months because of sickness and holidays and various reasons. So a week ago Monday, we met with Meg and we were there 3 hours. 3.5. And she actually gave us quite the folder to peruse and think about. In addition to that, Randy and I have been working with the 2 village trustees on the recreation committee, and we're trying to finally hammer out the joint recreation agreement. And I think we've got a really good start on it, and I feel good with the direction it's headed. What are your thoughts?
We're making progress.
Randy and I have done a deep dive on a few things, and I have some questions that we raised, and so, yeah.
But it's been a very good give and take.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has been
It has.
with the two of us. I think everyone in the room is pretty hopeful that we'll be able to hammer something out that would be acceptable to everybody involved.
Okay, I'd like the record to show that Mayor Dalton did step down from the committee and appointed Barbara Deacon as the other village rep. So it's Barbara Deacon and Beth Larrabee, village reps on that now.
Communications and technology. We're hammering out a joint village town social media policy. But we kind of held off on that for right now because after some discussions, we come to the conclusion that our website tends to be a little bit lacking at times. And so we had a couple presentations from a couple of different companies to see what they can offer us as far as websites, Revise and Civic Plus. And we sat through those and they were pretty interesting. We're trying to get a third one. Haven't anything back yet, but we want to look at least 3 different ones. I think my impression, given what we've seen just in the 2 presentations, is that there's more out there for us to better our website than what we have right now. There's more interactions, more that the departments can do on their own pages, and so that's why we kind of hesitated on finalizing the social media policy until we see what the website will offer, what people will be involved in incorporating it, and then we finish it after that.
And the ease of use for the general public finding things are so much better than really looking at what we currently have. And that's a big thing.
I can just say from my experience, I've only been on 3 weeks, I'm trying to go through the website the way it is. I find it very cumbersome, our website that we have. And what they show, of course, these are people that know it really well, so you got to take all that with a grain of salt, but the ease that are building the pages and it's quite impressive. Quite impressive, I thought.
Did the glitches all get figured out that were?
Like with the calendar and stuff like
Yeah.
that. As far as I know, nobody's contacted me that they can't do anything.
Okay.
We were, having one issue though, that if I were to post something, certain computers couldn't view them. So like, I'm just gonna use like, I posted something for code and I can see it on my computer. Even when I log out of the back end, I can see it, but then like if they're going upstairs, they couldn't see like the new maps I'm posting or Cindy, I posted the work, that no one could see it. And the recommendation was to clean your or refresh your cache or whatever that is, but that's, shouldn't have to tell the general public that they have to do that, or that you can only view our website if you're using Google Chrome. There's so many different browsers and it should work for everybody, so, I haven't heard anything from anybody yet. From the public, usually, some people let me know if something isn't working, but I haven't heard anything back. I mean, I did just recently look on my page and I posted like, my FOIA request, like, I'm working on my handbook for my office, so I just wanted to make sure that was updated and my page wasn't able to be found. And that's occurring a lot, like if you search something, all of a sudden it's just not there anymore, and I've gotten a few emails about that, so I'm trying to work that in, my schedule. The website's a lot. It's a lot of time, it's very time consuming,
That came up
and we're
with
trying
both-
our best.
That came up with both of the companies that we had presentation with, is they can find the pages that are there that we can't have access to necessarily. They can find them and make them more accessible on their new website. So we have pages that I guess we had you said we had 750 pages. you know?
Yeah, and one of them said that we probably only have 200 that are actually active.
Right.
I mean, Anna and I sat down to try to help create a committee page. Couldn't find it, create it, and then all of a sudden there, it was already there, and then we could never find it. It's not linked to anything, it's just loading. So, we spent all this time to create it, and we couldn't find out it was already a page. So, we're doing a lot of work, especially like when we sit down and create these pages, then come to find out there's something already there just floating on our website. So, unnecessary. So we're moving in the right direction, that's for sure. We're hoping that third one will be on the 20th. So, good. Fingers crossed.
Time for changes, so. Yep.
Did any of the designers give you guys any idea of the cost?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a cost, it just depends on.
That's how much, that's what it is.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
So there's two prices, you have to decide if we want to do a total redesign versus like a go-ready type website. So, the price is different for both, the timing is different for both, so, we just have to, we give you prices, but we haven't come to a conclusion.
So we gotta think about,
I think the least expensive one was pretty close to 5,000, wasn't it?
For the redesign.
For the redesign.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you get one that you just plug in like have it already made, just plug your information in, and I think it was, you can bring 3,400 maybe, or 2,900, or
That one off the top of my head.
you get something along those lines, Bob, I think. But then you can go as high as 15 or 19,000 if you want to redesign the whole thing with film and everything else. I think that might be a little more than we need, but.
But then always like split costs. That's neat.
But yeah, like you said, if we use the ones with their template.
Yeah.
They're a whole lot less.
Right, because they've already done it.
Yeah, and we just plug in our information.
It's a lot less
And-
work for that, and we'll have a faster turnaround time too.
Yeah, and it's of course, it's shared cost, it's the town village.
But there's a lot of feedback. There's a lot of good things if you do a total redesign. If you want to certain company for years, you could get a total redesign at no cost. There's just a lot for our community that. I think what's really working for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it works on the website a lot, and it's like, I'm not this next meeting.
But that was, I think, not just you, I think Sally from the village felt the same way, and she's having a hard time. as well. Both people that are administering the website.
The village is having just as much of an issue as we are.
Are unhappy with it.
And Sally and I work together on that all the time.
okay, well, thank you. And, the village is working on their budget right now, and, we haven't budgeted anything for something like this, so, we'll look forward to bringing back some information. Thank you. Any other committee report? Okay, old business. So the zoning update law, Monica had reached out, to all of us. Certainly committee, you can pipe in. There was the initial idea of her doing a presentation tonight for the public, that came in a little late, so, I did speak with her, and although she doesn't have to do this, she's interested in doing a public presentation, and she scheduled it for Tuesday, March 28th at 6 p.m. and it'll all be zoomed for the public to come and listen to the 100 and some pages.
164.
A lot of work has gone into this, and so, you know, and she also said, Tuesday, March 28th. Yep, and, Heidi and Leanna will be able to help facilitate on the Zoom with this,
Like, the whole thing will be Zoom,
they will,
so no one's gonna be meeting here.
no. No, because she has a new job now, and so travels, and, you know, she's really doing us a favor by extending, doing all this work, so, but there's certain things that we have to do, right, Eric? So spin it out to the public, advertise it, put this on the website so people can see it in advance. And then in our April meeting, we would have to do a secret.
Yeah, you start to see the process for the agencies. Go through the process if you do. First summary of the Mary Lou that you sent around is a pretty detailed and pretty accurate summation of what you're doing.
So,
We got a notice today from the county. They've got it and they want to meet with us. Yeah, Friday. With the plan.
Yeah.
Did you get it? You gonna get an email?
Probably till the March.
Probably just as good. What do you need to know? You don't need to know.
I was supposed to send this out.
Don't know what you were supposed to do and what you did do.
I know, I did not get that.
You didn't get one? You didn't see it from Matilda? No, she sent it. It was late today.
It was pretty late, it's like 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
3:30.
You didn't see it? Okay, well.
so the committee, you're all meeting with her when?
March 20th.
Was it the 20th?
Yep. Right.
And then she said St. Patrick's Day. Well, yeah, the 20th. Yeah. So, okay, but yeah.
So, and answer to your question, everything is.
Okay,
So you. Earlier.
Yeah, 7:30.
That's fine with me. I can put that through.
so my question to Eric is, can we set a public hearing tonight for May? For the May meeting? Or should we wait for April and then?
Yeah, I would wait for April, just because you said the public hearing, you really want the statute. to be-
Okay.
And I think you've got just a few more steps. to go through.
Because depending on our meeting with the county, if there's anything that's substantive that the county doesn't like, then we're gonna have to deal with it, so.
Remember,
We'll need time
and there's 2 separate meetings, because Jason and Foot now is having the county planning.
with the county planning
Right,
board. Yeah.
Right,
we're
correct.
meeting,
and we're meeting. For
Because it's gotta go-
just a
it's
piece
gotta
of it,
go-
ours is just all piece.
Yeah, they're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think some of what's in our proposed zoning code, maybe not be quite in sync with
Yep.
what's really going on in
That's-
solar and camping.
That's how I read it as well.
That they wanted, we need to address those issues.
So thank you to Eric and the committee and everybody that's worked on this. It's a lot of work.
Novel.
Yeah, okay, so we'll, that's the next item on the agenda. Well, is everybody okay with the public presentation? It's already been set, that's when you can do it. So what we'll do is we'll, get this on the website, send out a press release and, you know, at least twice. It's an opportunity for people to learn about it, but there'll also be a copy in Heidi's office, should somebody want to come in and look at it as well. So we'll get that out.
And it is riveting reading.
Oh, it's so riveting, yes, it is. But it's good, it's all good. Okay, so as far as number 2 under old business, then we'll put that on the April agenda. All right, you two, stop talking. And we'll get that out. All right, number 3, non-contract policy. We've been working on that. We're there. And so I need a motion to pass that policy. You all have it.
So
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion or comments? This was a lot of work. It took a while, was we wanted to wait till we got a highway contract so that we can compare some items. And there's one substantial item in there is an increase in the health insurance payout from $1,200 a year to $1,500 a year. So that was an increase. And then it's totally different from what already exists. And I'll be meeting with the departments that it impacts, and we'll go from there. So thank you, everybody, for the work on that. And, it took a while, but we're there. Number 4. Oh, did I take a vote?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. Okay. Number 4, Canton Community Fund grant. We were approved for $1,495, and I want to thank John Tile for doing the legwork on that. And that money is to pay for the signage down at the historian's office. So the Canton Community Fund did fund that. And so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So thank you, John, for all the legwork on that. Number 5. Bring up that resolution, please. The board already approved this. Now we need to amend the budget. And the front end loader will be put to rest paper-wise. So as everybody knows, we purchased that front end loader for $192,477. We put down a $50,000 deposit, and then we through Milton Cat financed it through Kansas State Bank, which was very challenging, and it only made sense to pay it off. We did take a hit on the first year of the interest, and at the same time, the rest of the money. So I need a motion to amend.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so Angela, we'll get these down
Yes.
to amend the budget. All right, number 6, the ice resurfacer. As you all know, we approved that a while ago. We have an agreement with the village, and so the resurfacer is here. It's a very nice machine. I was down there the other day. Very nice machine. So I need a motion to amend the budget, adding the $48,676.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Randy Brown. Any further discussion? Randy Brown. Randy. And we're taking this out of the B fund balance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. John, did you say aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. So revised committee reports or assignments, excuse me. So basically, Randy Brown took place on the committees that Bob Washoe was on. So Randy has been appointed to the audit committee and on even months, and then to the economic development committee. I think we took John off that. And then let me see what else here. Recreation, shared services, technology communications, and he's the liaison to trails and complete streets. So those have already been posted, I believe, Heidi, on the website. So those are the revised committee assignments. Okay, new business. Town court is changing from Wednesdays now to Mondays. And so that's a good thing for us that we can go back to 6 o'clock. Does anybody have a problem with that? Instead of 6:30 on Wednesdays, we go back to 6. Okay, so thank you for changing. And the reason you changed was why?
We had a conflict with Canton work,
Yeah,
and we had a lot of the rush over here after being over there back and forth somewhere, and we had to go on certain days. So
just more.
it actually worked better with my schedule.
Okay. All right. I don't think we need a formal motion on that. What's going on? Okay. You all set? Okay. The Justice Court Annual Records Review, can you bring that resolution up, please? So Councilmember John Tile and I, we are the court committee, and we performed an audit on the town records on March 1st. And everything is in order. Do we have to pass a formal resolution saying the audit, now therefore be it resolved that the audit is approved and entered into the minutes of the town of Canton on March 8th. Don, did you want to add anything?
I'm just gonna reiterate what I said last year after the year. Mark's amazing. This guy, he really, every question we had, he had it right here. He was ready, and it just amazed me how organized he is.
He's good. Very lucky to have it.
Okay, so I need a motion to, for this resolution. So moved by John, or second?
And just being who I am. So now I asked the question again, you made a presentation about, towns and parks, the town having no say in what the court does. Why in the hell is the town auditing your department?
That's a very good question, because we got that letter from the state
It's the
too.
state that says that we gotta do it, but then the state.
I think it just goes back to when it was still done on paper, everything was still done on paper. Wasn't done on a computer system, submitted to the state, it was all written checks sent to the state and all that good stuff. And there were instances where people stole, or clerks were stealing money, judges have stolen money, supervisors, just one of those things. And so that audit just continues, but as I said, I think we talked about this last year too. The nice thing with what they do now is the Fourth Judicial District, they do an internal audit every month. If red flags pop up, they're right on it, even before it goes to the conference. But this is just an annual thing that's done to make sure that nothing stands out in the town. I asked the Fourth District, why not open the books like the computer system in all of them? But because there's so much personal information on there, so all you can look at is how much money went into the bank, how much was taken in fines, and how much money went into the bank, and to make sure they match up. And that's basically what that.
I don't see it as our problem.
I don't disagree with you a bit on that, Jeff. Not at all.
I don't see it as our problem. We have no say.
Well,
I don't need more conflict.
we have a motion, we
I'm
have a
just trying to
second.
make sense of something
There
that.
is no making sense out of this. No, we already had the motion and we already had the second, right? John, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carry. Aye. I thought you were gonna say no. Okay, number 3, authorization to execute post-community benefit agreements with community solar developers. We need to table that. There's further questions, and so that needs to be tabled at this time. Number 4, I need a motion to approve the second tax notice $2 charge. Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye, carry. All right, number 5, speaking with the mayor, joint board meeting, for March 23rd, if everybody's in agreement with that, at 6 p.m. And there'll be 2 agenda items as of right now. Well, first, is everybody okay with that? The 23rd, March 23rd, 6 o'clock? Is everybody good with that? So the 2 agenda items would be the Bernier car municipal building schematics presentation and the rights of the river.
September 26th, April 26th.
I think we would discuss that if it is needed.
At that time.
Yeah, well, yeah, we could, yeah, but as you know, our first joint meeting was canceled, so we really wanted to get the Bernier car thing spun out. So everybody's good with that, okay? Any other public comment? Okay. We do need to go into executive session for purposes of let me see.
Thank you, Doug.
Proposed sale, release of real property, and what's the other one here? Employment history of a particular person. We need a motion? Second? And it is, you got the time, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye, carry. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's not bad.